Hi everybody, I'm Amy from the Cauldron, and in today's episode of Dye Time I'm going to be dyeing this skein. It's 76 grams of hand spun yarn that I actually spun in my 10th anniversary video when I did my vlog from fleece to yarn. And this has been soaking in water for about 24 hours now. It doesn't need quite that long. I just set this to pre-soak yesterday. There's no acid there at the moment. The dyes I have chosen to use today are saffron spice, Chinese red and tobacco leaf. They are all acid dyes from Dharma. And I think what I'm going to do, I've got my gloves on, I've got my mask on, and all the equipment I'm using is dedicated for dyeing. I don't use it for food. And I've got the tobacco leaf first, and I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on here. There's no heat on this at the moment, and there is no acid in there either. This is saffron spice, and I've got a new spoon here. I'm just going to put some on here. This is there we go. None of these dyes I have used, well, I haven't used these dyes very often. These sorts of colours aren't particularly favourites of mine, so I don't gravitate towards them. And going with Chinese red. And what I'm going to do is, once I've added this, yeah, there we go. I think I'm going to turn the heat on, turn it down, and then I'm just going to pour in the pre-soak water. I've got another spoon, and see some of this, there are clumps in some of these colours. I think this is I can't remember what I just did. This is the saffron spice. See, there's big clumps there, so I just want to try to spread them out a bit. So this is low immersion, I would say. I'm kind of making this up as I go along. I don't have a plan for this. I'm going to add a little bit more water, I think, to this. This tray does sort of bend in the middle, so it can either dip down, which is what it's doing, or spring back up. So it's not lying flat, which is really quite annoying, but it's the only tray I've got. You can see where there's no water up here in this corner. It's all sort of run down here, so I'm just going to add more water in here. We'll do it more fullish immersion. I don't want the corners to dry out and then burn. I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll go 5 tablespoons of vinegar. Now, because this is an animal fibre, it needs the correct dyes. So you can use acid dyes or fibre reactive dyes or foods colouring. It needs an acid, so you can either use citric acid or vinegar, and it needs heat. So I'm just going to turn the heat up a little bit now. Get this steaming. Because this is non-superwash, I am going to just let it steam and then bring the temperature down so that it's not too, the water doesn't start bubbling up too much and there's not too much agitation. Let's see how this works out. I didn't think tobacco leaf was that green. I thought it was more of an orangey colour. I'm going to go have to check my swatch samples now. I thought it was like an orangey brown, but that is very, very green. Okay, here's my swatch sample, and it is a sort of orangey brown. So hopefully it will look like that once the heat has bound the dye to the yarn. Hopefully it will look more like that. Oh, well, we'll check back in a little while. This has been on the heat for about 30 minutes now, And you can see there is still some of that orangey colour there, but I'm going to just pick that up. There's a lot of dye that's sort of stuck in that corner over there. That's strange. I've not seen that before. Then I haven't used these dyes before, so it's quite clumpy. I'm guessing this water won't clear, but it looks like the dyes have gone through this yarn. Ooh. So I am happy with this. I'm not going to add any more dye. What I am going to do is add some more water. This is just from another pre-soak. It's just water and vinegar. Just going to use it all. Another skein of yarn in there. This will be in another video at some point. I'm going to start dyeing next actually, but I don't know when it will be out on my channel. I think this is probably enough liquid in here for now. I'm going to let this get nice and hot. Let it come up to, not a boil, but there's a little bit of bubbles on top. And then once it gets to that stage, I will let it sit on the heat for about half an hour. Hopefully that'll be enough time to absorb all that rest of that dye. Doesn't look like there's actually that much. So hopefully this extra heat and time will be enough. You can see that tobacco leaf it's still got that green tinge to it, but it's not as green as it was, and it sort of goes in nicely with the rest of this. Yeah, we'll see what this looks like in about 30 minutes. I'm not entirely sure how long this has been on the heat. I have got multiple projects going on right now, so I've kind of lost track of time, but you can see there still is colour in this liquid in the dye bath here. I'm not overly worried because we did have those clumps of dye. So what I'm going to do now, right, and I know non-superwash yarns do take a bit longer to absorb colours, and maybe I use too much dye here. Maybe these ones are a little bit like Kelly Green, where a little goes a long way, and I may be washing this for forever to stop the bleeding. But for now, I'm just going to turn this off the heat and let it cool down, and hopefully in that time some more of this dye may absorb, but I'm not too worried because there isn't that much when you look at what's actually in the yarn. Once this has cooled down, we can wash it. This has been sitting overnight. It's completely cooled down now, and it looks like all of that dye has gone into the yarn. I'm happy with that. So now it's time to wash it. Because this is non-superwash yarn, I am not going to run it under the tap. I'm just frothing up this soap over there. I don't want to felt this because I don't, I've put a lot of work went into making this yarn, so I don't want to ruin it at this last stage. Yeah, there is some colour coming out of this. Not too worried. I'm just going to let this soak. Yeah, see, there is colour coming out of that. That's not just reflection. I may have used too much of that red and orange. Yeah, so I'm not worried. This is just for me. Yeah, there still is a little bit of colour coming off of this. So I'm just going to let this soak in here for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll come and wash it out again. And I'll keep doing this until the water runs clear. And here is the finished yarn. I really need to not be scared of using these colours because they are so pretty. You've got the tobacco leaf there, and you can still see some of that saffron spice and this beautiful Chinese red there. I just love how these colours have blended together, and it looks really fiery. I love it. And the tobacco leaf, it still does have that hint of green, but it is nowhere near the green that the powder dye is. That's definitely one of those dyes where you need the heat in order to be able to see the colour of the dye. I had a lot of fun with this project, and it's really, really satisfying to know that I took this from dirty fleece to something that can be knitted or crocheted with. I can make something with that. I don't know what I'm going to make, but you know, it's really, really satisfying to know that I've done that process. I've made this yarn. And I do have a lot more of this fibre to process and spin and dye and all that, so I will be doing more of these videos in the future. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Click that like button and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this video. I do have a lot more of this fleece to scour and spin and dye, so make sure you've got notifications turned on so you don't miss any of those videos. Would you like to see videos where I take the dirty fleece and make something like this, like the entire process, or would you prefer that I break it up into portions? So there's one video which is the scouring, another video where I'm carding and spinning, and then a final dyeing video maybe. Let me know down in the comments. I publish a new video every Monday, usually around 6 PM UK time, so make sure you've got those notifications turned on so you don't miss any new videos. Thank you so much for watching.